All right. So we're gonna kick off our final ECN meeting of the season, which um I'm just so grateful. I know I came in February and have just loved all of the time that we spent together. I came in on the last day of the ECN retreat and just love the activities that we've done together. And since then have had wonderful connections with each of you. And I just feel so grateful for the work you do in your communities, as well as the warm welcome you've provided me and Shannon both into the ECN and all the wonderful things we've done in the last couple months together. So let's go ahead and kick off with some community updates. I'm going to put our questions in the chat. We're just going to go around and I'm just going to call from how I see you all on my screen. If that's okay, or if somebody wants to jump in first, you're also more than welcome to, because I don't want to cause anybody anxiety. But I see Abby is on my screen first. So I put the questions in the chat. Do you want to share your name and community? Any challenges, what is going right? Or challenges, what's hard right now? Community wins, what is going right? And then goals for the immediate future, any upcoming events.
Okay, let me try this. So I'm Abby down on the Kenai Peninsula in Soldotna. I wear several hats in this space, I guess, but specifically for this meeting, I show up as SAFER, our local upstream prevention work group. Let's see, community challenges, what's hard? I think right now, we are going through some tribulation in the community with coalitions and some transitioning happening. This is specifically affecting SAFER because the coalition that is making transitions is our backbone agency and has been, I've had a contract with them to do this work. So it's such a blessing. But I also think that's a win. I think it's the rock bottom we needed to hit in order to really look at how we're using these funds, make updates as needed. I think it'll ultimately result in a better outcome and a more strategic outcome. But right now it just feels really messy and uncertain. So goals for the immediate future. We have our family day coming up in June. Help Me Grow was actually at that, I think, last year. So we're doing it again. Of course, you're welcome to join us. It'll be June 19th. It's in partnership with the Wednesday Market. We're praying for better weather this year, but we have a ton of vendors on board. And I am partnering with our local infant learning program to help with the education component. So we always tie in an educational component for this day, where families have to do a scavenger hunt among vendors at the market. And this year, the educational component is on child development and the importance of understanding that as like a prevention measure. And so our ILP folks locally are creating the content for that. They'll collect a card at each. So we're doing 8 different vendors based on their material that they're creating, and they'll create, at the end, they'll have a ring of cards that has a different focus on child development and some activities that can go with that. Excuse me. And then of course we'll be offering like developmental screening information and different things like that. So that's an exciting event coming up. It's a really successful event because it's already a well-established event. We're just partnering with them. So it's really not a ton of like recruiting and promoting. It's just kind of, we get a lot of attendees just organically. And then, yeah, I guess that kind of fits the next one as well on my end.
That's awesome. I love the take-home materials that people get for that. The market is such a cool event anyway, and then the fact that they get, supportive take-home materials is awesome. Cool. Very exciting, Abby. Thank you. Joan, how about you?
Hi, I'm Joan Lauer. I and Crystal Hoke both represent the Girdwood Workforce Childcare Project. And what's hard right now is we're trying to fundraise for Little Bears Playhouse's program, which we do annually anyway. And at the same time, we're trying to get funds for our building, our capital project. So that's always a challenge when you're trying to ask people for money from 2 directions. We are going to have a walk through of the lot tomorrow, and we've had it surveyed, and we are going to mark the trees that we're gonna get rid of. And that's gonna be really exciting. And then we're gonna have the 4 corners of the building marked, and those are gonna be the spots where we're gonna dig holes and see what's underneath. So we know exactly what's underneath before we won't have any kind of surprises there. Let's see, goal for the immediate future. Get more funds. We're applying to different grants, and we're asking the community for money, and we're trying to get big donors and upcoming events. We have our raffle on Friday at Little Bears Playhouse. It's called our Big Adventures Raffle, and we're hoping to make $20,000. I don't know if we're going to sell that many tickets, but that's our goal.
Nice.
That's about it.
That's awesome. Oh my goodness, how fun. I'm excited to hear. I hope that there's nothing surprising in the first couple digging of holes. I mean, what a time capsule would be cool, but other than that, no, there's surprises, right?
Right, exactly.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joan. That's so cool. I know you guys have been doing so much advocacy and money raising of funds, and it's been a huge project. So to see that you guys are at this stage is really exciting too. That trees are getting marked, holes are getting dug.
We have a CAPSIS
Very cool.
request for $500,000, and it's going to be going to the governor for signing, the whole budget. So hopefully we'll remain on there. That might be coming.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Keep all of us, keep our fingers crossed for you guys. Yes. All right. Let's see. Heather, how about you?
So, Heather Burke, I'm in the Kodiak community, representing Kodiak. Some things that are hard, I think summer's coming up, and so a lot of community events are kind of over. We do most of our community events in springtime, just because we're such a large fishing community. A lot of people leave for summer or are super busy, so don't have anything coming up per se. Some things that are hard, so I'm the infant learning program I like how Abby describes it, wearing my hat. So typically on normal days, I wear my hat as the ILP coordinator. And I was brainstorming with some of the other community service people in my space. And we were kind of talking a little bit about some struggles that as summer approaches, it's sometimes difficult to find fun things to do for kiddos. So we live in Kodiak, right? And rain happens pretty much all year round. There's no actual summer weather in our town. So finding things to do while kids are out of school is sometimes a bit of a challenge. Also finding things for teenagers that are safe and okay to do in a community that shuts down at 6 p.m. is sometimes difficult. So those are some challenges that our town's kind of facing as we approach summer and school letting out. Some wins for us, we had a lot of fun things happening in the spring. We had carnival, like a community event carnival geared towards children, which was housed indoors. We have a fancy new marketplace in our town that can house large events without having to deal with the rain and weather. So that was very nice to be able to utilize that. And we also had some fun group or community activities. We have a story sharing community. It's called Galley Tables, and that was a great performance, but of course it's over for summer. And some live music events, which is always fun for the community to come out and listen to music. But of course, with that being said, again, all those fun things are kind of over for summer now. So it's kind of the balance of goods and bads, I guess, in there.
Looks like today is a sunny day, right? And here we are trapping you inside for a meeting, Heather. I appreciate your presence and always sending hope for sunny weather, but that in the rainforest area of Alaska, right, where there's so much rain, that's a whole other area of challenges, especially for activities. So I think that's a really great topic of, just as like discussion in general for us as we're thinking of summer plans and even like emailing each other or whatever. What are you doing with this? Like, what are your activities that you're doing for a rainy summer? I know here in Anchorage last year, the last 2 summers had to get pretty creative because it's been so rainy and sloppy. But I think that that's in terms of making good choices and safety. Rainy weather and having to be inside all the time and not much to do in the sun is something to also consider. So I'm grateful that you brought that up. So it's something we can all, I think, brainstorm together. Great. Let's see. Katie, how about you?
So our upcoming event that I'm helping or that I'm planning is a bike rodeo. And last year we did car seat fittings. This year we won't be doing car seat fittings at the bike rodeo, but we will have car seats available as prizes. It's a little bit too much hands-on work for doing helmet fittings and car seat sittings in one event with everything else that's going on. So we'll have to separate those two events. Last year we had people come up from Safe Alaskans for extra hands to do the car seat fittings, but since we won't be able to make it work this year, maybe that will be something we'll do next year, is have our car seat technicians offer that service at the bike rodeo. But this year we're going to focus on helmet fittings and distributing bike helmets. So that is I'm traveling. I'm going to be out of the office. I leave this Friday for my fellowship graduation on the East Coast. I'll be in Maryland for a week and a half, or a little over a week. But anyways, my fellowship project was like TBI prevention in the village of Koyuk. So I've been focusing on that. I've been working on that a lot. And that's why I missed the meeting when you were here, because I was meeting with professors.
Oh, so cool.
And then
That's huge. Congratulations, Katie. We're super excited. I'm very excited for you. That's huge.
Yeah, that's been my goal for a long time. The fellowship's been an 18-month project, and it's been a little bit of everything. It's been a lot of work experience, lots of hands-on, lots of Excel and data and analysis, and it could just go on. But so that's been my goal, my personal goal and my work goal. Let me see what else. And I don't really need to talk about Nome because we talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
It's actually really cold here today. It was snowing earlier. So we're still winter up here.
Yeah. The sunny days are kind of a trick, right? It's like, oh yay, let's feel the sunshine for spring, and then the next day it snows. That's, I guess, what happened right after we left. The next day there's like huge windstorm. Aggie was telling us that it snowed, and like, oh, phew,
It was
good thing we
cold.
left,
It's been cold. It's still winter here. When Heather was talking
Yeah.
about Kodiak earlier, I told my coworker, I was like, Kodiak sounds fun. I want to go to Kodiak.
It is fun. It's a very fun place. I love Kodiak.
I've never been there, but
Well,
it's on my bucket list.
right? It's where we need to just like get in-person meetings everywhere, right?
Yeah,
Visit all the cool
instead of
parts of
meeting
the
in Anchorage
state.
every year, we should go to the different places around the state and just see everybody else's like projects and
Love it.
communities, and maybe help out at their events that they're having. And I feel like it's really good to get out
Oh,
and see everybody's different places. Like Kodiak would be a cool place. I don't know if we'd ever have a meeting there, but I'd go there.
sign us up, right? Well,
Yeah.
awesome. In the same vein of Nome, thank you, Katie. Veronica, do you have anything that you wanted to add about anything happening in Nome for you?
Yeah, so the only two projects that I've kind of been working on is so I'm part of the Nome Chamber of Commerce, and I'm trying to have them integrate families more in their mission, I guess. And we are partnering with the Visitor Center to hopefully do a story track walk throughout our community, and hopefully do one that's culturally relevant to our community. And so we're just kind of working on that, giving families something to do, whether they're visiting or they are from Nome. And I can't remember who was talking earlier, but I feel like a story track walk is one of those things that people can do on their own time. So it's not weather dependent. So that may be something to consider. And then the Bering Sea Lions Club has been partnering with my office lately, and we just purchased a screener, and we're hoping to do, so I don't know if you guys know, but the Lions Club's one of their missions has to do with vision. And so we're partnering with them to do some screenings, and but kind of join that with some family events. It's still in the works. We just got the machine. But they've been really great at supporting us with that adventure. So, and yeah, I'm glad. I'm sorry too that I missed you. We were at a conference, but I'm glad you got to come and talk to some of our community members and get to see what it's like here.
Yeah, we missed you, and it was such a wonderful trip. We really loved it. You have a great community. And both of you, dropped your names and like, oh yeah, we know them. So I mean, that's great for being in a small town, and the fact that your individual work is very impactful means a lot. So it's great to be able to drop your name and have just like wonderful smiles and oh, they're so helpful. So both Katie and Veronica, it was wonderful being in your community and to see people's faces light up at the drop of your name. So wonderful. Let's see. Cassie, you're next. Casey, sorry, I said Cassie. I'm so sorry, Casey.
That's okay.
Casey.
It happens all the time. Okay, great. So my name's Casey. I live in Seward on the Kenai Peninsula. I think there's a lot. I think what's hard for us right now is we have a lot of kind of big projects happening all at once. So lots of moving parts within each project. So what's going right now is part of this hard piece as well, is that we're getting ready to put in the last stages of some sustainability funding for our childcare liaison work that we've been doing under Hyper and Seward, and hopefully having some of that funding overflow into the rest of our region to support some of the similar work in other parts of the Kenai Peninsula. Also in the hard piece too is our city is bringing in I don't even know what the correct word is, but they're using our tidal system to produce heat for our city buildings. And so what that means is we have to move our storage unit for our home visiting program and our community play and chat. So we have all these toys that are in the basement that need to be relocated so that way they can install this new system. So that's a challenge, but also positive for our community. And then also another challenge and positive is under Hyper, we've been working on developing a children's museum here in the community that will act as a one-stop shop for early childhood resources and networking and collaboration within our community. And our leads on that are away at a conference right now. While they're also working to, secure some funding for the actual physical piece of that project. So lots of things happening with lots of people in different areas, trying to get through some of these larger projects.
Wow, that's a lot. That's very busy. What are you going to do with all those materials?
No upcoming events.
Except for like moving day, right? Like sign up to move some trikes with us.
Yeah.
Some materials. Where are you going to store all of the stuff? Have you guys found a new storage place for it all?
No, the library. So we have a partnership with the library and it's in the basement there. They're going to be moving the storage cages from where they're currently located to the other side of the basement. So we're just going to be moving most of it across the hall. What can't fit there will go to our executive director's garage. Until those new cages get built, and then we'll put them all back in there.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome. That's very exciting for the community, and that's a lot of moving. Hopefully on a sunny day, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Casey. Lots of big stuff happening down there. I'm excited to hear how that all transitions after the summer, whenever you come and give an update. Let's see. Jeannie, would you like to give an update? Oh, you're muted.
Haven't attended for so long, I don't even know how to unmute anymore. But anyway, I missed the retreat for personal reasons, but my cohort was there, Annie, and so she found it really helpful, and we incorporated something from that. I'm from Dillingham, and I work for Head Start, and then I'm part of the Early Childhood Coalition, and of course, community challenges. I could go on and on about that, but there's a couple things that are really hard right now. And we had to actually close our childcare 2 weeks or 2 months early because we just didn't have any staff. So I think it's a statewide problem. I'm not sure, but I'd like to hear from other people. Anyway, so we're working hard on that so we can open up in the fall. The other things that are really hard right now is our community is just so short on housing. It's hard for people to move here, people with young children. So that's another issue. Of course, there's other issues, but those are sort of the ones focused around early childhood. Even in our Head Start and our regional sites, we're having real trouble with, not so much on our villages. We have good staffing in our villages, but in Dillingham, it's really been a challenge. What is going right? Well, there's some things that are going right. And one thing is the people that we do have are just super. We just have a lot of ideas. We have a lot of energy in our programs. And so we're moving ahead. Like Kodiak, we don't do too much we're also a fishing community. So as far as community events, we don't do too much in the summertime. But we had wonderful, the first since the pandemic, we've really not had our young children's fairs either in our villages or in Dillingham. But this year we really pulled them off. And then Andy got all enthused when she went to the retreat about how Matsu does those baby showers. We didn't pull off the baby showers, but we included a booth in our young children's fair for babies. It was a great hit. And so we're trying to expand that a little bit. We have to travel for our young children's fairs, and that's always a challenge with weather. And we had to reschedule them all, but we still pulled them all off. And the one in Dillingham was quite successful. So I'd say that's kind of where we are. We just had a meeting of our coalition, and there's a lot going on. And that coalition is so great because you think, oh, there's nothing happening. But when you all get together, these agencies, the Bristol Bay Area Health Corporation has just been great about doing more community outreach. And so, of course, we always partner with them. So that's kind of where we are in Bristol Bay.
Oh, I love that. And I love that for this group too, right? Like where you might feel like, oh my gosh, there's so much that I have to do, or I don't have the right ideas. And then you come together with this group and it just like ideas share and whenever, and oh yeah, that's a great idea. I didn't even consider that. And so you hear all the wonderful things happening in other communities and realize that you've got partners to bounce ideas off of, right? And brainstorm. I already saw Olivia in the chat, send me that information. I want to do something like that, right? Like this is a great place for that brainstorming, and now you have people to contact for those too. So coalitions, groups like this are wonderful for that. Speaking of Olivia, do you want to share any updates happening in the Valdez area?
Sure. Oh my gosh. So I feel like the last time I came to this meeting, we were doing our early child needs assessment. So that work wrapped up, not without several comments about how we didn't do it right, but I feel like we did a lot right. But the peanut gallery has a lot to say about what you didn't do every time you do something. And I'm like, you were invited to come and participate in all of this work. But it seems like the volunteers that volunteer are like, they volunteer for every single volunteer opportunity in town. So they're spread quite thin, but I think we did a good job with our early child needs assessment. And then we it's funny because I feel like I love the rural representation on this network because everybody talks about wearing a lot of hats. So I forgot to say who I am. I'm pretty sure most of you know me. I'm Olivia Foster. I'm a registered nurse. I work in Valdez at Providence, and I also teach nursing for the University of Alaska part-time. And I'm a city council member now with the city of Valdez. So I just got reelected for my second term. And during this whole experience, we did start up a childcare task force where guess what we identified? You're not going to believe this. But workforce is a huge issue because we don't pay people enough and we don't offer them benefits. And there's no reason for people to stick around when you work in an oil town slash fishing town slash tourism town, and you can make more money, you know, taking people into Prince William Sound in a kayak than you can growing the brains of the future of our country and our society on this planet. So it's just really, it's interesting. I'm not like devaluing kayak guides. I love kayak guides. I'm just saying, I feel like workforce for the childcare industry really needs to be reassessed and their value needs to be like, we need to take another look at this. As an RN, I know I've said this before, but this is healthcare. Like this is actual healthcare, early child learning. So yeah, workforce, funding. We don't really have a site. We really don't have, we have one licensed childcare home. So they can take like 4 people in their home. But that's what we have right now. And then we have a preschool co-op. So again, that sector of our population that always gets, you know, they always get forgotten about, the 0 to 3 category. They're still missing out. And then of course, management structure, we talked about that. And then community and advocacy. That's why when I hear about Abby talking about educating her community on the importance of childhood, it's a great idea. And we have an annual Gold Rush Days event, and we try to get a booth there for 0 to 3 with Families Alliance. And that's kind of who I represent on this network. But we usually do an ages and stages booth where we have folks bring their littles up and we kind of run through the little blocks and toys and have them draw lines with their parents and have them jump, all the fun stuff that you like to do as a child, and then kind of try to get them resources if the screening shows that they might need those things. So yeah, I want to use all of that stuff. And then I heard Casey talking about a children's museum in Seward, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is such an amazing idea. Because have you all been to the Fairbanks Museum, the children's museum? Anybody that goes there just raves about it. It's amazing, and any child that ever goes there is just like, this is amazing. So I'm just going on and on. But that's kind of what we're doing here in Valdez. We are begging, borrowing, and stealing from anyone to get licensed childcare that is accessible for our entire community and affordable. I personally believe that childcare should be universalized. It should be like K through 12, but we should just pay for people to come and receive childcare. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking now.
Thank you so much for sharing, Olivia. That's wonderful. I appreciate all the updates and all the work that you're doing in your community. Congratulations on being reelected. That's very exciting. I know you're a big impact in Valdez, so we're happy to have you here and have all your passion, my friend. That's wonderful.
Could I say one thing? Follow up with Olivia. I don't think it's just almost impossible to run a licensed childcare in a rural setting. You know, the state makes Olivia, I don't, right? I mean, it's just almost impossible for homes here to be licensed because they just have things in there that are impossible to do in a rural setting. So just a thought. I always say it when any group I can, because you know, we're the only licensed care child center in Dillingham, and to think of putting one in one of our villages is just, the challenges are just impossible. So just put it out there. Olivia, is that what you found?
We honestly, Jeannie, we can't find a workforce.
Well, we can't either, obviously. Yeah.
Like that, I think is our biggest hurdle. It's the
Yes,
workforce issue. Yeah, the median income here, you know, when you look at census statistics, you're gonna say, oh, it's so high here. But just like Dillingham, we pay a lot for milk, we pay a lot
Right,
for groceries, we pay a lot for energy. But going to AML, just to get back to what you said, Jeannie, housing is the #1 priority
yeah.
for like
It's
most
number
rural
one
communities. And guess
problem.
what priority #2 is?
Childcare.
Childcare.
For every single rural community in Alaska. That's been my experience.
I have a question for you, Jeannie. I'm wondering, do you know if there's any other groups that are meeting that are discussing those challenges to becoming a licensed in-home licensed provider in rural communities like Dillingham?
I think she's frozen, Casey.
Yeah, I just,
No.
This is Tracy. If I can jump in, I feel like the governor's task force on childcare has been really listening. I mean, we already got the static IP address solved, right? So I feel heard. I feel like they've listened and they have some great recommendations that will make it more possible. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents there.
yeah.
I
Oh, there's Jeannie. She's back.
Thank you, Tracy, for sharing that. I know that we've had some challenges here. Although Seward is not rural in the way that Kotzebue and Dillingham are rural. We definitely said, you guys have some other challenges that we don't face here. But also to kind of speak a little bit to Olivia's comment about housing and childcare, something that we're working on trying to kind of figure out here in Seward is some of those same pieces. And Rural Cap has it's a self-help housing program similar to like Habitat of Humanity. But what we were working to do is building a partnership with them that were Rural Cap and building these homes in our community and then having 1 or 2 of those individuals and individual homes in each of their little cohort builds to be allocated to an individual that wanted to run a licensed childcare program in their home, but maybe didn't have the current housing situation to where they were able to do to operate an in-home program. I don't know if that's something that might work somewhere else, but it was an idea that we had and continuing to explore it.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Cassie, that's really helpful. Perfect. Tracy, would you like to share your community update?
Sure. So I'm in Kotzebue and I guess the job that pays my mortgage is I'm coordinator of the Early Learning and Family Program, the ILP program in Kotzebue in the Northwest Arctic. And I also work for the school district. I'm the occupational therapist. And then my daughter and I run a little licensed childcare center here called Noonikins, and we're working on the Family Support Coalition. So I guess so our challenge is just trying to find funding for our coalition projects. We are looking at the diaper bank project and a lot of advocacy. So, and then kind of looking forward as far as some financial support as our community innovation grant winds down, which I'm sorry I missed, but again, the job that pays the mortgage had the meeting today, so I had to be there. So I've gotten turned down for a lot of local support. So it's kind of been interesting to look at like what I've gotten locally, which is basically a trash can and a laptop. So anyway, we have a community that feels like they're really in crisis, and so they know they need it, but nobody wants to help, so it's kind of a little frustrating there. The coalition is doing a really cool project as far as developing an ASQ companion document. So that was a fun project we're taking on. And then as far as ILP/ELF, we're wrapping up the year. We're in a school district. We're in the school, so that is a little different for us. We're the only program, and we have a very small grant, and we cover an enormous area, and it's really challenging to travel, and flat funding, and we have like the equivalent, I guess, of maybe 2 FTEs that cover the entire year by like spreading our days around like a thin smear of cream cheese, pretty much. So the wins, like I kind of mentioned before, I mean, I feel like this has been almost impossible to be get licensed here. And if we were in a village and not the hub, it would have been. But again, I really feel like there are some solutions on the horizon there, and that's great. We do have some long-term staff as far as the infant learning program, which is great. We do have some childcare staff, but again, there's a lot of absenteeism, showing up, not showing up, and because we do pay okay, but you can go throw bags for bearing air and make $10 an hour more and not have to do a lot of training. So yeah, and we're gonna do a little event we'll have a booth on 4th of July. We're gonna do like a diaper changing station, breastfeeding station, and then lots of information about all the different programs in the region. Not that there's a lot of them, but infant learning in our little tribal preschool, and the coalition and the childcare. So that's that. And I do have to leave at 11:30. So if I step out, I apologize.
I know, we're happy to have you here, Tracy. Thank you for that update. I'm also glad, as somebody who has gone through the process of getting licensed, that you are seeing some progress on the governor's task force, that you, as a provider who's gone through this, you feel heard and seen, because being on the outside is like a systematic agency. I'm always wondering, like, I hope, are these things being like impactful to providers? Do they feel seen and heard? So I'm glad that from your experience that you feel seen and heard in this, which is great. Awesome. And I'm really excited for that 4th of July event for you guys. What a cool, those are two really cool things at an event that not everybody has. Having 2 little ones myself, a pumping station is always wonderful to have, because I exclusively pumped with my daughter, and boy, did I always need a place to sit down and do that with. So to be able to have something like that, breastfeeding or pumping or diapering, is wonderful. So thank you for the work that you're doing, Tracy. That's awesome. Let's see. Bobby Joe. Hello. Look at those
Good
beautiful
segue
plants.
for the state person.
That was not intentional.
So I'm Bobby Joe from the CCPO, and I do have to say, I'm looking at Olivia's comment in the chat, and Heather, my first thought was that was a moose behind you too, and then I realized, oh, it's probably a deer.
Oh.
Being in Kodiak. So that's really fun. So yeah, I guess just kind of talking about, and I don't remember what I've shared before, what maybe Tracy from Tracy Adams has shared, but we have had, we've been able to do our Roots Awards with Thread, and also the Focus on Childcare grants, which are starting to be paid out. And last people are getting paid out this month, so that's exciting. And recently we had so our CCDF plan is due on the 1st of July. And so we're working on that. Lots of changes with the new rule. And also we're going to be putting out the plan, knowing that we're going to have to make some amendments because of recommendations from the task force and just needing time to get these things in place. So there's that. But we did have a last month we had a collaboration meeting with the tribes, the tribal CCDF grantees in Alaska. So that was great and had great attendance. I think we had like 23 people come, and that was really good. And then today we had just a peer networking meeting for our Innovate grant recipients. And Innovate was the grant we put out along with the Improved Childcare grants administered by Thread. And I know that Casey was there. Well, I don't think anyone else was there that's on this meeting, but yeah, it was a great opportunity to get everyone to meet, and we're looking forward to coming up with a schedule for the next meetings and sort of what topics are going to be. And I feel like the first meeting was great, just in that we've already got people wanting to connect outside, communities that are doing the same sort of projects. So again, that's the spirit of this group too. So that's pretty great. And yeah, I think that's kind of it with that I have to report out on. So I don't know if anybody had any questions or thoughts about those.
Awesome. Thank you, Bobby Joe. Well, just gonna pause for thoughts. Thank you all for the community updates. This is probably my favorite part of the ECN meetings, just to hear all the great work that you all are doing, the challenges, brainstorming. Love hearing the community updates. And it's wonderful to be going into summer and hearing like the truth of where you can't plan a lot because there's subsistence, there's tourism, there's the sun, right? There's a lot of things that happen in our summer times that make it hard to plan events. And so if you have events that you need Help Me Grow materials for, we've got a whole slew of resources here. We're happy to share, we're happy to send anything out. And in the email after this, I can send out our link that you can order any of the books or materials for any of your summertime events that you want. We've got those really cool Alaska versions of the CDC books. They're all, have you guys all seen these? You guys have seen this from the Help Me Grow crew that came to the retreat. They passed out these books. All of these are free, so you can order as many as you want. We'll ship them out to you for your events if you would like those. So you can go on our website and you can either order them there. I will also send out the link for you guys to order them as well. All right, so just a few things that I wanted to share today. So we had talked about, oh my goodness, I don't want to share this. Let's see, we met with the advisory council and I was so excited to meet with them because one of the things that we had talked about was finding an easier place to share all this information. So Shannon put together this wonderful example. Are you guys seeing this little Padlet with the boots? Kids boots? Okay, cool. This is a Padlet she put together and it just has some of the information. So like the pictures from our retreat, she just put some examples in here. And this is an example of something that we're going to try and put together this summer so that next year, come around our meeting schedule, we'll have a place to put everything, the recordings from the meeting, resources, and it'll just be an internal thing for all of us here so that we have access to it. So Olivia asking Abby for this research or the resources for her event, she could post them on here and make it public to the rest of us to be able to share. So that's something that we're going to be working on this summer to put together for this last year for us to use as a resource, and then also for this next year coming up. So if you've ever done anything like this, worked on a shared platform, I know Casey, we talked a little bit about it in the advisory meeting. You mentioned, I think it was you who mentioned maybe a platform you've used before, but if any of you have ever used a platform like this that has been successful, we would love your ideas or your experience, websites that you've used before. Shannon and I had just been trying out some different things. This was really cute with little boots, but we do want to have a space for us to be able to access easier instead of us just sending out links to the recordings. We can put everything here, and it's site that everybody can gain access to. So we're going to be working on this. This is something that we're doing this summer for everybody. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Any ideas or places that they've used before? Oh, Heather, I will send you the link right after this.
I know we've had this for a while when I think Emily set this up originally a few years ago. And I just have been bad. I haven't utilized it very frequently. So I think it is a powerful tool where, you know, if communities are doing events, you know, even just like that pumping station and a diaper station, I'm definitely going to do that at Gold Rush this year. Not just, but like that's a huge deal. So I didn't mean to put the word just in front of that, but I mean, that's a great idea that we could share broadly with everyone. And it's a simple intervention that gives our families a space to nourish our kids with. So
yeah. So this space would just be internal for us as the ECN. However, we could just like update it, put any information on it so that then we could all use that information and share it widely and idea share, right? Because sometimes it's like, oh man, that's really awesome. And then what are the steps that you did to put that into place, right? And so this is some place that we can share all that information to instead of just our monthly meetings, right? So that's something I love it. I'm excited to dive deeper in that. If you have done something like this in the past or have a platform that you love to work with, we are taking suggestions. So please share them with us. Let's see, summer interviews. So if you have, I think all of you have probably been here. You all have been here clearly longer than I have, but if you participated last summer or last year, you'll know that the facilitators of the ECN will reach out and do summer interviews. So we're going to be working on scheduling those here before the end of this month for the summertime. So again, summer fishing, travel, sunshine. Shannon and I will be reaching out with some doodle polls about dates that you're available, and we'll probably just do hour to an hour and a half meeting. It may not even be that long. If you're on the road system, we would love to drive to see you. Joan, maybe we can come do a tour of Girdwood in your community. Would love to see that. Maybe take a road trip down to Seward. We can help you move a couple boxes, Casey. So we're going to be sending out, we're working on putting those questions together with the advisory council, and then we'll be sending those out to everybody so that it's not like a pop quiz, right? It's just like making sure everybody feels prepared and that this group is, the intention is still what you all need it to be, right? Like that everything that we're doing in this group is led by the group, is a resource and important for everybody to be a part of, and we'd love your feedback. So Casey, did you have a question? No? Okay, I saw your hand.
I was trying to do a thumbs up and I accidentally.
Like, come help me. I will help you. I'll be there. So we're super excited. We're looking forward to seeing you all and hearing more about it. Shannon and I are constantly, every time after these meetings, we're always like, oh my God, we learned so much today that we always joke about that. We're like, we learned so much in this meeting today because this is just a learning curve, right? Like along with all the new things that her and I are learning in our new positions, we're also learning just so much about the communities and all the incredible work that is happening. You know, sometimes I know even in my past career, like thinking about, man, I feel so alone in this. And then I'd get together with somebody and like, oh yeah, well, this is what we're doing. It's like, where have you been this whole time? I've needed you to answer this question for me. And now I feel like I have the resources. So I feel this same way in this group, which I'm very, very grateful for. All right. I think we have gotten, let's see, I think we've gotten 20 responses from the Stellar Group survey. If you have not completed the Stellar Group survey, we're going to end early today so that you guys can, if you have not completed the Stellar Group survey, can you please do it? It's going to close, they reopened the link so that we can get some more responses. They're going to close it at 11:59 tonight. So if we can get as many responses as possible, even if this was your only meeting that you participated in this year, this is a 3-year project. Carmen explained a little bit in our last meeting. It's a 3-year project that they're going to be measuring the responses with. And so even if you're like, I didn't really participate at all this year, or I only did a few things, we'd love to hear your feedback. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the survey. So if you can take, I think they said like total, it takes like 12 to 13 minutes. So I'm going to leave enough time today so that that meeting time can, hopefully you can finish it. So please, that would be really helpful to us. Okay, I have one more thing, which is kind of our seasonal closeout reflection. What are some thoughts that people have before we get wrapped up there? Are there any thoughts or things that you all wanted to discuss before we go to our closeout of our last meeting? Did anybody have any thoughts or things to share after Denali DDA's presentation last week or last month? Did anybody have anything that they wanted to discuss? Okay, cool. Yes, Olivia.
One question. So I'm on the Alaska Early Childhood Network website right now, and I see that the Alaska Early Childhood Network, or sorry, Alaska Pediatric Partnership,
Oh, yes.
A2P2, which is what I'm used to calling it. Is it still called
Yes.
A2P2? Okay, sweet. And then the ECN has its own little tab here, and maybe we could put a little link to that Padlet site here so that I can come here and just click a button and get to that Padlet site. I don't know if you can do that from this website, but
So we haven't like officially made the Padlet like official. Like I can't even update it. Shannon's like, this is just an example of something we can use.
okay.
If we want to do that, I will ask her to like, I don't know, I haven't used Padlet before, but like to certify the link so that we can do it. The thing that's hard with ECN, as you all know, is that it's like exclusively inclusive. You know what I mean? Like everybody's kind of like the spokesperson from their community. And so to have the link public for everybody to gain access to, I don't think we want that completely open yet. So we will send out the link to everybody to have access to. But there's got to be a way that, Joan doesn't have to email me, hey, Rhian, I lost the link. Can you resend it? So that's like on our list of ways to navigate this, but it does make sense to have it like on our ECN website where there's a tab, or A2P2 website where there's a tab. So yes. Thank you, Olivia. I'm like, that's exactly what we were talking about just yesterday. I was like, we can put it on the website. These are the hard parts of.
I know from a few boards that I sit on, they have like for board members or for, network members.
Oh,
and you
yeah.
click in and then you can put in your email address and password.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's probably not the most important thing, but I was just thinking from like a resource sharing point of view, I would love to not reinvent the wheel because everyone has really good ideas, and I'm not an early child educator. So like I don't even pretend to be, because I understand the value and the skill set and the knowledge that an early child educator has. So any way that I can pull from y'all's brains because they're giant, I would like to do that.
Love it. Love that. And also you are on the email chain. So any emails are on there are your access as well. So feel free to reach out. And I know everybody on there will be just as helpful as I can be too. So this is our one on our priority list for the summer, to be able to get this going for everybody. So love it. Love the idea sharing and the brain sharing. Okay, so just to kind of wrap us up, I just thought maybe we could share like what was one of your highlights from this ECN season? What was a highlight? It doesn't have to be the retreat. Maybe it was a presentation, maybe it was a community event that you led. Or oopsies. So I put like two questions in the chat. Like, what was one of your highlights from engaging on the ECN? Or what is something you're looking forward to or hoping to see in the next season? So I'll let whoever wants to go first, feel free to jump in.
Hey, this is Veronica. So I just liked how we did incorporate some, I don't know if the right word is, but like political things. So like with the government's task force, and then learning how to advocate. I think that, you know, that is a huge step in advocacy for our group. And I think just being together in this, and so I think it was the last retreat where we all kind of sat there together and discussed like change needed to happen, and I really saw that, you know, start taking place this year through our advocacy with the support of you guys leading. So thank you.
You, Veronica, thank you. That has been, I would say, like that, like just from responses to, that's been a big one. So I love that. That's been a highlight for you. Go ahead, Cassie. Sorry, Casey, were you going to share? I saw you come off mute. Don't want to put you on the spot.
Oh, I didn't realize I was off mute.
Sorry, I would just saw the, I didn't want to put you on the spot. You're good.
Okay.
Any other thoughts?
I would say it's been, I know this is the only meeting that I've been on, but it's really awesome to see the progress that's happening across the state. I mean, you all have built you're doing really good work. And so it's always inspiring for me to see that someone is making some progress out there. And I love that. And I guess for what I'm hoping to see is like piggyback on what Veronica said, and then just continuing my partnership and building relationships with you all, because you know, like I said, I love your brains and the way you think.
And
Thank you, Olivia.
I also, I would love to say that the retreat was a highlight. I didn't get to participate in much of it, unfortunately, for personal reasons. So, but I do think, and this is more kind of the scope of my work at CCPO, but making connections with the some of the grantees that are also in the ECN has been really helpful. And I was wondering, can I share a little slide?
Yeah,
Real
please,
quick?
let me
Okay.
make you.
Let me see.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so let's see if I can. I just wanted to share this slide from the presentation we had today. Oh, I'm showing the presenter slide. Sorry. Well, disregard the
Oh,
slide.
no, you're good.
Oh,
I
okay.
see. It's not the presenter side. You're good.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I just, you know, I know that Casey is one, and Crystal from Girdwood was at the meeting today, and Tracy, you know, some of the grantee recipients, or the recipients of the innovation grant. It's just cool to highlight the type of projects that are going on in these communities. And I just want to say, like, kudos to everyone, and kudos to those of you in the ECN that are doing this and spreading the word. And I just think it's awesome. And I would love to hear, you know, more updates on your projects outside of the ECN meeting, since we're going to be putting it on pause.
So cool. Those are great numbers. Thank you for sharing that, Bobby Joe. That's awesome. Any other thoughts?
I always think it's really nice to come together in these groups. I liked somebody said like the rural community, and I think that that is definitely something the state of Alaska is unique in, and it's hard to describe that to federal and state agencies who don't have the awareness of rural communities. So I appreciate being able to voice frustrations and accomplishments gains together as a group. So I feel like and it's also like as we take on and off our hats, I live in a lot of ILP world, infant learning program world. And so I enjoy listening to other community programs. And I Two, I'm interested in thinking how we could incorporate and support. We have the large Crab Fest coming up at the end of the month, and my brain just went to, how can I incorporate a diaper changing station? I remember there was one a couple of years ago. Can we do that again? So listening to other people always sparks some things that we should be doing. So appreciate all the chat.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome.
I agree, and I just like listening to everybody's ideas for our upcoming events that we have. Like, maybe we have WIC at our bike rodeo every year, but I like the idea that you were saying earlier about something small that makes such a big impact on, like just making an appearance or showing support.
Yeah. When we were up in Nome, we brought a ton of materials, a ton of supplies. So as even they were talking about the bike rodeo, and so we were talking like, oh, we saw all these kids riding their bikes with their helmets on, and we're like, yeah, that looks awesome, good job. We're encouraging them for telling them they look cool so they don't stop wearing their helmets. But they were saying, oh yeah, the bike rodeo is coming up, and so we left all of our materials that we had brought up there so that they can be handed out at the event as well. So I think Veronica, I think Stephanie had a ton of materials. She was passing them off to Hillary Fellow as well. And then other people, Head Start's got a whole bunch of books too. So, but I agree, like just for myself coming into this group, midway through and working with a lot of you just at my previous role at Thread for the last 10 years, and then coming here and hearing about all the incredible work that you all are doing in your communities is it's so refreshing and encouraging. And, my background, my world has always been childcare as well. And seeing and hearing and diving into all the other incredible services and supports that are happening in communities that support the whole family is huge. And I feel so grateful to be with such passionate people who want to idea share and are so strengths based. Like there's so many things that we could, of course, talk about that are challenges because we're passionate people, and it's draining when I can't find an answer. And we're always finding the strengths around it too, right? Like I just love being in a group like this where all of you are so strength based and celebratory and using what we have are a bunch of, the TV show MacGyvers, right? Like, always trying to find what we can use, right, to build hope and help our littlest ones here in Alaska, no matter the community we're in. So I'm so grateful for each of you, and I've had so much fun the last couple months. I'm excited to see you, whether it's in person or on camera, for our summer interviews. And we'll be reaching out to about our next ECN meeting, our next start date. And we'll also probably send a survey about time. I know that it's been Tuesdays at 10:30s, but it doesn't have to be that way, right? Like if this is a really good time for everybody, we can keep it, and we can also reevaluate and see if there's a better time for folks to meet. So more to come. Until then, thank you all for your commitment. We've got more than 13 minutes, so if you have not done your survey, please do it. I just asked Sophia, Heather, I just asked Sophia to resend out the link to everybody. So if you haven't completed the survey yet, that link should be coming out soon from her to everybody. And yeah, there's a strengthening. I sent out a link for strengthening families training that's coming up too. So if you haven't taken strengthening families training, highly recommend. Please share it far and wide. I believe it's virtual, so people can take it too. So everyone, have a wonderful summer. Be safe. Wear your sunscreen because it's gonna be sunny. Everybody just keep saying sunny summer. We're all gonna have a sunny summer. Stay safe. And if you need a cheerleader, I'm here for you. Okay. Call me this summer if you need a cheerleader in the hard days that you're doing. I got your back. Okay. Everyone take care. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
You, bye.